How many visitors usually come through every year?
The average is about 10 million. She goes, I think we can make 30, 40 grand a year if we rent this place out. I said, it was 3 times better than we thought it would be.
Well, this is the first time we've ever, actually, have you guys met? This is Ryan. He was our agent for our first deal in Branson. He found us the RV park that we have under contract. Ash was actually born an hour away, fun fact, from Branson.
Brings back memories.
We're gonna dive into everything Branson, what he's doing, how the market is, how you can still buy a short-term rental. So real quick, how did you even get into real estate?
I was a firefighter for 9 years and then had a series of injuries, and that's what brought us down to the Branson area. Cost of living and then family down there. And then had 3 back surgeries. I figured the logical move would be to get into construction after having a bunch of back surgeries. So I did that, we moved down there. Shay had a background in interior design, and she felt like there was more of a market for that along with real estate when we moved there, so she got a real estate license. So after about 2-3 years of her building her real estate business, got to the point where I was looking at what she was doing and looking at what I was doing, and her business was just going through the roof. I'm like, why am I swinging a hammer? I should be doing this with Shay.
So you were a contractor for a few years. Shay
Yeah.
talked you into it,
Yeah.
and then you became an agent. When did the rental properties come into play?
Cost of living and then family down there. Part of the catalyst for that, she had just started working with this small local brokerage that specialized in vacation rental. And we're sitting in our house that we had moved into from Chicago, and we kept telling ourselves over and over again, this is a great house to vacation in, but it's uncomfortable to live in and raise kids in. It's 3 levels, but it had gorgeous views after I knocked down like 40 trees, like awesome mountain views. And we kept telling ourselves over and over again, this would be a great place to hang out for a weekend, but it's just not comfortable. So she comes home one day after work at this new brokerage and working with investors and selling vacation rentals and seeing P&Ls and everything for the first time. She goes, I think we can make 30, 40 grand a year if we rent this place out. And I just said, bullshit, there's no way. Like, we're in Omaha, Arkansas. No one's ever heard of Omaha, Arkansas. But we're 20 minutes from Branson. We're less than 5 minutes from the lake. And so at the time, my construction business was starting to pick up pretty well. We had some money in reserves, and my partner and I decided to buy this metal shop building that was like half a mile from our house, and to store equipment and material and stuff. But half of it was a 2-bedroom finished apartment space. So I convinced my partner to buy it with me through the business and then lease back the space to Shay and I and our, at this time, 2 kids, to see how Airbnb would work in our primary. And it was insane. It was 3 times better than we thought it would be. So 4 months into that experiment, Shay heard that the house that was next to the house we were living in was coming up off market, and made a play on it, and that was our second place. So we ended up doing a 6-month reno on it, a complete gut renovation, and we're still living in the metal shop building. It's 3.5 years later, and we moved into it with the intention of staying there for a year.
So you owe everything to Shay now. It sounds.
Yes, 100%, yeah.
And then how many rentals do you guys have now?
We're working on our 4th right now. We've got 1 live rental right now. We're about to roll out another one, hopefully by the end of November. And then we're breaking ground on our first container house build end of this month. So,
Container house building.
Omaha, Arkansas. Yeah.
So I'll try and get links to all of those now, somewhere, somehow, if people can book them, or if they want to get in touch with you. So for Ash and I, with Ash's aunt, we closed on STR in Branson. I've never been there, Ash has. But for everyone else who hasn't been there yet, what's the 411 about Branson?
It's very centrally located, which plays really well for your rental base. So one of the really cool statistics is we're within 1-day drive of half the U.S. population. So we get a lot of traffic from North Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Louisiana, those areas. It's very much a driving destination. We've got a couple of small airports, but typically everyone drives there. Like I was telling you earlier, when we moved there, it really wasn't for Branson. It was for the Ozarks. We were very outdoorsy. We like nature. Table Rock Lake, which is the lake that Branson sits on, it's amazing. It's year after year, it's voted one of the cleanest bodies of water in the country. By the end of the summer, it's like bath water. The surface water temperature is like 85 degrees. Great boating lake, fishing, scuba diving. So that's what brought us down there. So it's got a lot to do for every demographic. For us, it was the water. For tourism in general, for a long tourism season, Branson is similar to a lot of other destinations like Panama City Beach, Sevierville. You have the same kind of strip atmosphere. You've got Dolly Parton's got a presence there. You've got Ripley's Believe It or Not. You've got all the kind of things you'd anticipate to see in those tourism sectors. So it really keeps people coming there just about year round. I'd say January, February are the only months that we're really down. So just a lot to do for everybody.
I like it. What is your family's favorite thing about Branson?
The lake. Table Rock Lake. We live about 3 minutes from Cricket Creek Marina, which is the furthest southeast you can get on Table Rock Lake. And so from our front door to our boat, it's 2 minutes. And so, yeah, that's how we spend our summers, just on the water.
Other question, how many visitors usually come through every year?
The average is about 10 million for a town with a population of 10,000.
How many homes do you think are in that area?
Rental homes or homes in general?
Rental homes.
The last statistic I heard from one of the biggest property management companies in the area was 4,500 units. And then compare that to, and this is what they told me, because they've got friends in the Gatlinburg area, they said the Smokies have approximately 9,000 units. It's kind of a comparable tourism base. I think I saw today the Smokies get about 12 million visitors a year. We get 10. But one of the questions I get a lot from different investors from around the country is, are you concerned about saturation? And that's always a concern. But when you see that kind of statistic, like we've got half the inventory, just about, and about the same visitorship. So I'm not too worried about it.
So when you say rentals, you mean STRs. There's 4,500 STRs.
Correct.
Do you know how many new builds are on the horizon?
Yeah, it's very limited. There's quite a few, at least compared to what we've been used to. But the Branson market is so highly regulated that you can't just buy a piece of land and start popping up STR. So I think over the last 2 years, we've had approximately 300 new lodge developments. That's just the number that popped off the top of my head because I've got several under contract right now for new builds. So in the greater Branson area, if you're on the Missouri side, you've got county and city regulations that restrict new STRs from popping up. So they're just few and far between. There's a permitting process you can go through, but that's become restrictive depending on what county you're in. That's why we're doing all of our stuff just below the state line where we live, because it's still the Wild West down there. There's no planning and zoning, there's no permitting process. Kind of a double-edged sword. If you buy something down there, you don't know how it was built. Yeah. And I just expect it to be jacked up. The last place we flipped, we got to the very end of the renovation, and the running joke for the whole thing was, yeah, we're gonna get done and then the septic system's gonna be shot. And because for whatever reason, we just drug our feet on having it inspected. We're gonna buy it regardless, but we got all done. We got the inside, outside done. We're like a month away from having guests check in. Finally had someone pop the septic system, and the guy goes, yeah, it's a 55-gallon drum. Yeah, it was $4,500 later to fix it. That's the trade-off. If you're in a place that's unrestricted and unregulated, you don't know what you're going to find when you start tearing open walls. But that's why we're building new.
So you mentioned like zoning, and you can't just put an STR wherever. So how does it work in Branson right now as far as like where can you have an STR and where can you not have an STR?
Yeah, absolutely. The purpose of the restrictions is to protect single-family housing. They don't want investors and developers building up buying up whole subdivisions and then having people not have a place to live. So anything that's zoned R1 residential in Stone and Taney County, Missouri, off limits. Taney County, which is the bigger sector of Branson, is more restrictive than Stone County. With all that being said, though, if you find a place that's zoned commercial, zoned agricultural, in Stone County, it can be R1 or mixed use, then you can apply for a special use permit through the county planning and zoning, which is actually a really easy, straightforward process. Planning and zoning meets once a month. They review your request and they give you a yes or no on the spot. So that's how we've mitigated that with a lot of our clients that want to not buy an existing vacation rental. They want the value add of turning it into a vacation rental, is you make your offer contingent on getting that permit, which up until recently, the market and how hot it's been, that's been hard to do. If you've got 20 offers over asking, no one's going to want that contingency. That's not the market we're living in anymore. So we've had, I think, 3 different clients over the last 2 or 3 months have success with that.
Yeah. That was one things that we looked at when we were talking about Branson, just because of the horror story we had in Joshua Tree with our permitting process, and it was like night and day. Okay, the last question for you. Since you brought up current conditions, interest rates, and all that stuff, How has everything shifted in Branson?
That's really interesting. The buyer pool, I'd say, has dropped off dramatically. When money was essentially free, we couldn't answer the phone fast enough. Now, I feel like the people there's still people investing, but they're much more seasoned, they're much more calculated, running the numbers a lot better. So it's definitely cooled off. But as long as you're analyzing the deal properly, there are still good deals to be had out there. So we're seeing an increase in owner finance options, which was non-existent up until 6 months ago. We're seeing an increase in larger property acquisitions. We used to sell a lot of condos, a lot of smaller units. I'd say my last 3 deals I put pending were either large resort-style lodges or whole resorts. An interesting shift. I've seen a lot of people, rather than go through conventional financing over the last 6 months, they're pulling their resources together with different investment groups and just going in as a collaboration. which I think is fantastic.
So with less buyers making offers, are properties still going over asking, or is there price drops and things like that?
We haven't seen a lot of price drops yet. The over asking thing seems to be done, which is nice.
Yep.
It's been hectic the last couple of years because, especially with out-of-state buyers, you have a property hit the market and then you get a phone call. It's, hey, I can be there next week to take a look at it. And you're just like, it's not going to be there. I'm sorry. So it's nice that we're getting back to a more normalized market environment. People have a really short memory span. I haven't been in this industry very long, but I've done enough research and talked to enough people that have been. Our market average was 60 to 90 days on market before you sell a place.
Okay.
Over the last 2 years, it's been 10 days on average. Some things, if they're really hot, 10 hours. So it's nice that we're getting back to a more normalized environment where you can actually do diligence and come look at the place, inspect the place, like not have to waive inspections. So we're definitely seeing a shift. I think all in all, I like the shift, to be honest with you, because it's just been crazy. And even just looking at it from a purely investment standpoint, representing some clients in the past couple of years, we'll see deals come up and there's just this frenzy, like I have to buy it, I need a vacation rental. And then you sit down and try to run the numbers with them, you're like, I don't know if this is a good one, but there's nothing else out there. And I put 20 bids in Gatlinburg and I didn't get one of them, so I need to get something. It's like, that's what you want to do, cool. So now we can actually take a breath. We can step back and analyze our deals a little more. It sucks that interest rates are double what they were a couple of years ago, but I don't think it's the end of the world.
I would refi later.
Exactly. Or get creative with financing. So that's my perspective on it.
If you have owner financing deals and there's a secret list, add us to that list first.
Absolutely.
We got first dibs, sorry.
Yeah.
But no, I'm excited to go out and visit in the slow season.
The summer's the best time. You get on the water.
I know, but also the summer's the time where it makes money. Unless we're looking at more deals, then that'll work out.
Right,
too.
yeah, exactly. You don't stay in your unit, you can stay in someone else's unit.
I like it. There is, what is it? What's that? Is it Bass Pro Shops that has that crazy resort that's out there? Have you seen that?
Yeah, Top of the Rock in Big Cedar. Yeah, we're about 10 minutes from there. That's our go-to place. When we have guests come for the first time from out of town, that's where we take them. Especially people I grew up with in Chicago, and I tell them I moved to North Arkansas. Yeah, they're like, so what do you guys do for fun? Shoot squirrels? And yeah, let's come check it out. And we take them to the Top of the Rock, and it's just this amazing resort. Can't even really describe. The views are outstanding, and just everything's over the top. So between that and all the other development that Johnny Morris is doing, he just opened a big amphitheater near there. You guys see that Thunder Ridge amphitheater that came up? So the master plan for that is to have a 50,000 seat outdoor arena. So they just had their first big event last weekend. It was a Garth Brooks concert, and they had 24,000 people. It was a mess. Traffic was a mess.
That's what I heard.
Yes,
Like,
yeah.
nobody could get anywhere.
It's Johnny Morris. I'm pretty sure he bought the highway, and he's adding 2 more lanes. That's what the guy does. It's incredible. I love it.
Traffic, I'll just buy it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the same thing happened when he opened his golf course a couple years ago. He did a joint venture with Tiger Woods and opened a golf course near there. And the first event he did, it was a mess. Same thing. The traffic was awful. This and that. And so he bought the entrance to the subdivision where the golf course was and expanded it. And so it's crazy. Yeah. Have you guys ever looked at Buffalo National River, Jasper, Arkansas? He bought a resort last year called Dog Patch. Do some research on that when you get a chance. From what I've heard, he's in talks with the state of Arkansas to buy the highway because he wants to move it because it's too close to his resort.
I love that.
Man, that's crazy. So then, as you sum up, where can people find you?
So we're on Facebook, Duffy Homes Branson, and then we've got a website, www.duffyhomesllc.com.
Sweet. If you have any questions about Branson, you can leave them in the comments below. Do the whole YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe.
There's only so many to go around. There'll be more.
Yeah.
Just have to build more.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
That's it.
Cool.
Simple.
Appreciate it.
Easy.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, did we not order the drink?